Yeah, and I think that's us live now, man. So, welcome to nobody, because there's nobody watching. But thanks for coming in,
Okay.
man. Thanks for. I know I usually don't stream on a Sunday, but I usually do Tuesdays and Thursdays. Doesn't suit one way, and not that we go back a long way, but we've been chatting for a while, and I've been interested to have the man on. So we're gonna do tonight, see if it suits, see how it goes, and yeah, no real topic apart from maybe a discussion on which is the better Star Trek captain, but anything else we haven't really planned it. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. One way, do you, if you want to do a wee shill for your channel, give everyone a shout out, and yeah, go do your thing. Let everyone know who you are.
Thanks. It's good to see you or hear you this morning. Thanks for having me. I don't really push my channels much, but I have a channel called Oneway and then another one called Soli Deo Gloria, where I typically focus on biblical stuff. That's it.
Well, usually what I do is when I get people on is I ask them first and foremost, why are you here? Why is it that you're on the internet? Why are you doing what you do? Is it for fun? Is it to
hmm
spread the word? Do you like the debate? Do you like the fights? Do you like the dumpster fires?
Right. Yeah, I used to. I don't really do any of that nowadays. I more or less just focus on biblical things, trying to understand my own worldview more than other people's worldviews. But I'm always trying to learn from other people as well. Um, so you could say my focus has shifted, like within the past 5 years or what have you.
How long have you been on the internet? You were back in the day sort of stuff as well, weren't you?
Yeah, I think I got like into the great debate community sort of thing for I don't know, maybe around 2012. So I've been around for a bit.
Yeah, well, 7 years on YouTube is long enough. I'm only what 2 years, 2 years maybe. Yeah, would it be 2 years? Is it that?
I think it's about that now. At least that I've known of you.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it was from the Aaron Ra Kenthoven debate on non sequitur, April. I think it was 2017. So yeah, it'll be nearly 2 years now when it comes around to April in 2020. No, would it be 2018? Whatever it was, 20. I don't know. But we've been a while. You're obviously older and are around longer than me, but you've got bored with the dumpster fires. They're not as exciting anymore. It sort of does become stale, doesn't it?
Yeah. Now with I just watch some topics that I'm like insanely bored at. I watch and they're just funny. They're more entertaining for me, I guess, than
Yeah,
anything.
yeah. It's like one big social experiment. That's the way
That's
I
right.
look at it. It's sometimes I'll throw them a wee stick in. I'll give them a wee poke, maybe give them a bit of advice, whether it's good advice or bad advice, or trying to aim the conversation or situation. But it's all just a big social experiment. As Richard does say, I do hope that we all can become friends, and I just like the crack. I like talking. I like having people of different opinions around, and yeah, it's nice to just chat shit. And dumpster fires don't really do that. Dumpster fires is just people shouting at each other.
Right. Yeah.
Well, thanks everyone for turning up. We've got Sassy and Megadirk, and Megadirk give me a hand. He's actually one of the boys who gave me a hand to build this computer with a camera set up and them shouting instructions from me from another computer to tell me what to do. So thanks, Mega, or this wouldn't be happening. And Miss Sassy's here. We've got Sadie too. But you're very quiet tonight, man. You're very quiet. It's not like you. You usually have a lot to say.
Who me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah. I'm still waking up. Tea's not strong enough. I don't know what it is.
What time is it there? It's just after 10 UK here. So you're what?
3 p.m. a little after 3 in the afternoon.
Do you have any fancy tea?
No. I still
Whatever's.
got some more brewing right here in front of me though, so I don't know.
You
Maybe
see,
it'll
you
help.
have to do that. I'm not a big tea drinker, and I would maybe have the odd cup of tea in my mum's house after dinner or something like that. But I would never drink tea in my woman's house because they have a teapot and they boil the kettle. They put two tea bags in the teapot and then they pour the hot water in and then instantly go to the cup. It's like
Oh yeah.
you didn't put that on the heater. You didn't. You didn't give that a chance. It's like, oh, that's stew. We wouldn't have stewed tea. We like it golden. I was like, you mean wick?
Some leaf stew or something.
My ma would leave it on the boil after. She would boil the kettle, put it into the teapot, and the teapot I think must be from 1950 or something. It's dinted and old, and one of them old silver teapots. And she'll boil it for a good couple of minutes, and when it comes out, it's tea. It tastes of tea. No, weak tea's just exactly, Sadie. Fuck the weak tea. Coffee. I would have coffee over tea, but. I don't know. Stereotypical Irishman. You're supposed to drink tea. Some people drink.
Yeah, I definitely prefer coffee. This just isn't doing it.
Yeah, and coffee is far better. I used to hate coffee as a child, but coffee is actually quite nice, especially with the smoke. It goes well together. It's like they're matched. Probably why Amsterdam's full of coffee shops, like.
So your channel looks pretty nice, actually. I was watching a little bit of it last night. I like the way you got it all set up and what have you.
Well, shout out for Ease and Works. He did the pigsty background. The man must have spent, I think, a month doing it, man. He tweaked it and he really was patient. No, he was very patient with me. He's also done this moniker that I'm using as well, this little piggy with a hat and all. Real fucking, very, very good, man. His hands aren't great at the minute, so he's not been using the phone. He's got bad arthritis, and with the cold weather, it's cutting down on his time with the phone and talking to us and all. But no, massive shout out for him. He did an awful lot of work on the graphics, and give me a shout with that. Geo Sam did the framework, this sort of straw framework, and then 3 months learning OBS and screaming at the computer. Fucking OBS.
It takes a little bit of finagling.
Yeah, and it's still not sort of right, man. I actually am not wearing headphones. Here, just as a shout out to everybody in the chat, is there an echo? Because I have the sound one way coming from my TV, and I'm trying to position the mic so I can hear it and they can't hear it. And there was a little bit of an echo.
It could also be me though too. So we definitely don't want to have any echo for anybody.
No, I don't like the echo, and it took me a wee while. I was fucking about with a mic. It's a decent enough mic, but it's getting the positioning right, like. Sound is good, no echo. Thanks very much, Mega. Be mindful. Thanks for turning up. Be mindful it turns up for every stream. I did a gaming stream the other day, and I think it was Thursday night. There was 3 people watching. One was my sock account. One was my mate sitting on the sofa, and Be Mindful was there. So he's like, thanks.
What sort of games do you play? Maybe we could start off with that.
Well, I generally don't game, man. But just to fill time and get some viewers and, get all that shite up. And just sometimes when I'm fucking bored, I downloaded The Evil Within. Have you seen it? Something similar to the Resident Evil series?
No, I haven't.
Just think Resident Evil with a different story and different characters. It is so similar. And it's jumpy and very dark, and I switch the lights off, and they've got chainsaws in a hospital. I don't know why there was chainsaws in the hospital, but yeah, I've only played like 20 minutes of it. I did try playing Day of the Tentacle, and I had Abe's Odyssey, if you remember Abe's Odyssey from the PS1.
I think so.
The one that goes around farting and stuff and talks to people. And I was playing it, but doing it by the keyboard via an emulator wasn't working. So I need to get a fucking Bluetooth controller. Make everything a whole lot handier if I had a controller, but just at the minute I had the computer, and I'm doing work at the house at the minute, and Jesus, I had to give the plumber £1,000 deposit on Sunday, which was not nice. So yeah, the controller can wait to Christmas. I've told my ma, I've told the girlfriend, I've told my dad. Somebody might fucking buy me one.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the same without like a controller or whatnot.
No, it's definitely not. And then because it's got the back buttons and you have to talk to people and it brings in the other menus, I'm at the freaking controller on the keypad trying to look up the emulator controllers to figure out what button it is, and then looking up another list to figure... No, fuck that shit. Just, need a controller. But The Evil Within seems to be fun. As I say, I played 20 minutes of it, and there was a blood slide, there was dead people, there was dead bodies getting thrown down laundry chutes, a man in a mask with a face only a mother could love swinging a chainsaw, and all within 20 minutes. So, yeah. Not too bad. Like Sal has turned up. Ease and Works has turned up. He's in the chat, man. He is the man, as I say, that did the artwork. But
well, it's good artwork, man. That's awesome.
Well, it is visually. You sort of need it to look visually as well good. And StreamYards has an awful lot of problems with the chat. And once you get the hang of OBS, you're landed. You know, it is fucking far, far better and gives you the ability to do this and add videos and...
Yeah. It's a lot better. One of the reasons, remember we were sort of talking about like how, like back in the day, when I got on the internet, I would always do Google Hangouts, you know, and live stream, invite all kinds of people and talk about whatever, different worldviews and what have you.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I hated is that program, you know, people started porn bombing and there were all sorts of glitches with it where people could just, you know, hijack your whole Hangout. So I just like said, screw it and stopped streaming for like, I don't know, a good year. But I think this new setup that people are using with OBS and StreamYards and you know what's the other one?
Zoom.
Zoom. I think this is a lot better format for the community.
The StreamYards is definitely an awful lot easier with the click and go. And for people who don't stream as a channel, you know, if it's your channel, you're going to sort it out. So it doesn't matter what you use. But like other people can't get Zoom. It can be difficult, you know, using a call-in number or using the link number. And sometimes you have to make an account if you want your name to pop up. With this, you just point and click. And instantly you're in, you know, it's web hosted. It's very handy. And I just, as you say, man, I just screen grab and then trim. And
that's it.
You get this, which is easy enough, like.
Yeah. The only game I've been playing recently is Magic: The Gathering Arena. I've always loved that game, the actual card game.
Yeah, I know of them sort of games, but they were more bigger in America. What we had over here was Pog or Pong. Was it Pog or Pong?
Oh yeah, I remember those.
Yeah, they were massive over here. And then for like 2 years, yo-yos. Yo-yos got really huge when I was a kid for about a year and a half, like. And then Coca-Cola brought out limited edition ones if you kept enough labels, so there was a whole thing with that. But no, we never got into the card games here. It just didn't catch on. There wasn't a big anime, a big sort of comic book, sort of that. We didn't have that availability back here, you know. Back in them days over here, us being in the sticks and shit, like. You know, America always had that comic book thing, always had that news at comic book shops and stuff like that. I would have went to the record shop or what? The music shop and sat looking at fucking CDs on my lunch break and school, like, and things like that. That's why I probably have like 14 Motorhead albums. Just like, I've been here for an hour, I need to buy something.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, 14. We have a one way. Tell us about your music. You would have, I would consider, a good taste in music. But not for someone who would, as a godly man, if you don't mind me sounding not facetious or anything like that, but, you know, as a godly man, you do listen to some fucking heavy metal, man. Really. Fucking thrash death metal and all. Like, you know, there's Danzig, I think, was it?
I love that stuff, yeah.
Yeah, Motorhead and, you know, all that shit. Good taste in music. But
the only thing I can't possibly, like, I can't stand is country music. I can listen to just about anything else. But... yeah, death metal seems to be my favorite.
Well, I don't know if you know or not, man, but as of last night, I have hit 200 subscribers, right? And so I'm thinking of doing something, and I said as a joke to Miss Sassy, because Miss Sassy was very, very good one time there a couple of weeks ago, and we persuaded her to sing on screen. Now, okay, she covered the camera, but I always have the camera covered. But I joked if I did hit 200, I would sing. I don't know if I'm going to stick to that, but... I've been listening to Stained and a bit of Metallica and things like that. I think that suits my voice better than anything. But just as a shout out to everybody who's here, thanks very much for, not that subscribers matter or anything like that, but, you know, really appreciate you doing that. Like,
you know they matter. We're all trolls here in the live streaming community. We're trolling people.
Well, can you guess who my 200th subscriber was? Eric Murphy off Talk Heathen. He was in Neil the 604 Atheists last night and we were chatting. Okay, I tell a lie. He was technically 199 and then someone else subbed and was 200. But yeah, I told him I'm going to tell everybody that he was my 200th because he's famous. And he was like, right, that's fine. Just go with it, man. Just go with it. I was like, cool. Yeah.
So you have 200 subs?
Just hit 200 as of last night, yeah.
That's nice. You haven't even been out very long. That's good.
Well, the first 100 doesn't really count because I would have been in a lot of, hangout streams like the God the Good One and the Lucy Luxor, and a lot of them people would just sub to you because you're there. So the first 100, not that it's a not that it's not a big milestone, because it can be difficult for some people to get that, but I would say a lot of that was just sub for sub. There's maybe 30 in there that actually give a shit and would come and would have been interested, but no, the last 100, hitting the 200, this has been, that I know that there's at least 100 people that give a shit or are interested to see how much of a mistake and mess I make of myself.
Yeah. Yeah, it takes a bit.
Oh,
I remember when I first got started, I would just troll comment sections, and I think I gained like 100 subs just doing that. But that was like back in like 2010, 2011 or something like that. But you could actually just gain a bunch of subs trolling people's comments.
yeah, exactly, man. Yeah, they think you're funny and they'll just sub to you. If you don't mind, we have a question from Miss Sassy here. She wants to know what religion you are part of.
Oh yeah, I'm more Presbyterian Reformed Christian. So you could say a Calvinist.
You could say that, couldn't you? Not
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, that's sort of where I'm at least. It seems to make the most sense to me so far. But I'm still always trying to look at different worldviews and learn from people.
If you're in the chat, man, if you can see the live chat, feel free to drop your Google Drive link. I know that makes your dick hard. You love dropping that Google Drive link. But he does have a giant online library, and fair play to anything you can push one way, he'll generally take it. He will give as good as he gets, and the man always usually has a citation or some sort of Google Drive link that he can throw at you to back up everything he says. So if he's ever you do live streams, man, don't you?
Yeah, whenever I can, not very much.
You don't have a set time or anything like that if anyone wanted to jump in and...
Right. Yeah. No set time. They're pretty much random right now.
Well, that's good. It just, they'll have to subscribe to you then and hit that bell and all that shill shit,
Right. Yeah, it takes too much. That's too much work, man.
Well, Tuesday nights, as most people who have been here before know, this is my technical weekend, or, Tuesday nights is my weekend, so I would have the main thing and then the after party, and the after party, obviously, I'm drinking on it and it goes a bit mad, and then Thursdays I do the thing with Richard because that time sort of suits the both of us, and then I spend the weekends with the girls, and yeah, so Tuesdays and Thursdays is regular for me because it's just handy. It's the days that I be free to do stuff anyway. Like did you have a good weekend yourself? I had a fantastic weekend with the daughter, although the girlfriend's not too happy with me, but I threw the daughter into the swimming pool. Well, I didn't throw her into the swimming pool. We were in the swimming pool, and I'm trying to teach her to swim, and there's like a river thing that goes around the swimming pool. Like a current outside of the main area in the middle. And we would go around that a couple of times, and I'm holding her belly and she's kicking her legs and stuff like that. But she's afraid of putting her head under the water. She's petrified of it. And every time she puts her head under the water, she panics. So I'm trying to teach her. I've been teaching her to jump off the coffee table onto the floor, and I'm catching her. And I've been doing that for a couple of weeks. And I'm like, right, she's ready to do it now. She's confident enough to jump off the table. Let's go to the swimming pool. We get to the swimming pool. She won't fucking jump at all. She's like, honey, come on, daddy will catch you. And I said, no. So I let her down into the pool. Lifted her down into the pool. And I would say to her, do you want to fly? And I would lift her up, in the air and things like that. And she was like, yeah. And I looked at my woman, and she looked at me and shook her head. And then I just ignored her and threw the child up in the air. And she came down and she landed straight into the water. And just whenever I let go, the face on my woman, the face on the child, it was glorious. But yeah, down under the water, splash. She was great. Yeah. She spat water and she didn't talk to me for all of about 2 minutes. She went over and hugged her mother and didn't. Bad daddy. I was like, okay. But
weekend's all right so far.
Yeah, kids are great. Kids are great, man. And she's growing like a fucking weed. She's already coming out of the 4-year-old clothes, and she'll not be 3 to February. Sammy's turned up. Have you met Sammy? You know of Sammy?
I don't think so.
Remember, Sammy Jenkins is just starting out his own channel. He's an ex-Jehovah's Witness. He's an Aussie, so timing's a wee bit difficult sometimes. But starting out a wee small channel there. Give him a sub. He's looking into a new computer. He's been running on the laptop and it doesn't work. But you see them in the odd StreamYards. He's done a few with Richard and stuff like that. Good man, good man. Hi, Tony. Thanks for turning up, Tony. And Nerdy's here as well. Thank you.
So I came to the conclusion last night, MathPig, after watching episode 1 that you just have beef with Picard.
No. I don't have beef with Picard, okay? No, Star Trek Next Generation, as fantastic as it was and as good as the storylines were, it is very 90s. You know, you can watch Deep Space Nine and it doesn't feel like it was made... Deep Space Nine and Babylon 5 were at certain points were made in around the same time. And you watch old Babylon 5, that's really old, bad quality. You get what I mean? There's a difference in... It takes more than a storyline to make a good show. It takes character development. It takes...
Yeah. I did notice, like, for some reason, Next Generation started off that way. Like, they were really good with, like, switching up approaches to it. But then, like, after a while, it just became like, all right, so we got this problem, this reaction, the solution, you know, and it all played out almost identically.
But
like, it wasn't very creative, I guess.
They actually, if I'm right in saying this now, don't quote me on it, but they made the decision for Star Trek Next Generation to be episode by episode, and when it came to Deep Space Nine, they made the decision to have more long-running stories. You watch Deep Space Nine, and then you watch Next Generation. You know, and there's certain episodes of DS9, if you watch them out of order, it wouldn't make any sense. Where if you did with Next Generation, it wouldn't matter. As you said, you just recently finished watching it and wasn't sure if you'd watched them all because, you know, but that's probably down to the fact that they were not in order.
There's not very much progression, if you will.
Pardon?
Yeah. There's not very much progression throughout it, is what I've noticed. I mean, other than, you know, Deanna, like, having different hair at certain times and Worf having a different color uniform, things like that.
Yeah.
So it, like, seemed, it's probably as bad as my live streams where it's just, like, so random. You would never know, like, it wouldn't matter if you missed the show. There's, like, nothing progressing through it.
Yeah, exactly. So, we've had a mention in the chat of Farscape. Have you seen Farscape?
I think I watched a few episodes.
Yeah, you know, you need to give Farscape a watch.
Is Farscape the one with the living ship?
Yes, with Maya and John Crichton.
Yeah, actually, I think I watched, like, the whole first season.
Oh man, give it an entire watch through. I think they do the series and then they do 2 movies to wind it up at the end. It's called the Farscape, the Peacekeeper Wars. You know, you need to watch the whole lot to get the Peacekeeper Wars. But when you watch, like, the Peacekeeper Wars is fantastic. Really, really good. The whole series was good, man. It definitely was. It does take a wee while to get into. The first series, you know, is sort of, but as we discussed earlier, most series are like that. But once they get the money coming in and better production and, oh yeah, definitely. There's a character who's a plant, you know. She's blue and she's alive. She's a plant. They've got Maya, Crichton. Oh, good show.
Yeah, that was an interesting character.
And again, they had a long story that went through everything. There was character development, and it was a great show. We've also had a mention of Lex, but Dave and me love Lex. Have you ever watched Lex? Yeah, I think you have.
I still haven't. I remember you recommended it to me.
Oh yeah. It's got a living ship, but it's a completely different story. But yeah. So much for the sci-fi, but I would still be a Cisco man and I would say Cisco, or I would be DS9 over Star Trek, because it is down to the character development. But we could leave it out to the audience, but I would put money on it that most people in the audience wouldn't be Star Trek fans.
Yeah, I don't know. I still have to watch Deep Space Nine because it wasn't like that. Like, I didn't watch Deep Space Nine when it came out.
Stargate SG-1, we made an actual thing of it. Every Tuesday night we would go up to my mates, and which is why if I had to pick a night during the week to be my weekend, which is probably why Tuesday is my weekend, because we used to do that when we were at a younger age. We would go up every Tuesday night, his ma would go to bed early and leave us for the living room. And as we got older, we used to have a carry out and all afterwards. But we all got together, all of us, like there were 6 of us, and we would sit and watch Star Trek or Stargate SG1. And even some of the friends that wanted to be there for the crack, they would be sitting on the sofa, not allowed to speak for the entire hour, because me and my mate were doing, shut the fuck up, we're watching this. And then when they started bringing out Atlantis, it was 2 hours of it, and it was like, shut the fuck up, we're watching this. Oh.
It was different. I had to fight my brother for the TV. He would watch Dukes of Hazzard, and I wanted to watch Star Trek, and they came on at the same time at that time. I'm like, get that stupid Dukes of Hazzard off the TV, you know?
Yeah, I've watched bits and bobs of Dukes of Hazzard, but I couldn't say I've actually sat down and watched it. But no, we were lucky enough because his father was actually shot, and his mum got a wee bit of money and stuff for it, so he was not well off, but she had a TV up the stairs in her bedroom, and she just wanted her wee son to be happy, so he got away with fucking blind murder sometimes. Like, she would disappear for weeks at a stage. Whenever I became 18 and he was still fucking 16, his ma decided that she could now go away for 3 months at a time to the caravan down in Cranfield and just move down there. And I moved up, and me and him had full reign of the house. Like, it was, she just let him get away with fucking murder. But
some people's kids.
Well, she wanted her son to be happy, you know. And as I say, he lost his dad. Dad was shot at the front door at a very young age, so it has, you know, the man still is bitter as people in the fucking DUP and stuff like that, probably again because of that, which is a wee bit of a loss. And just while we're here and on the Sunday, and just on the topic of that, Remembrance Sunday, everybody, if you don't know what it is, you should be wearing your poppy. Anyone in the UK here should be wearing their poppy. I actually have 2 on. Do you know what the Remembrance Sunday is, One Way? No?
No, sorry, I had another window open. I couldn't see the live chat, so I just wanted to see who's in the live chat.
Remembrance Sunday.
I don't. What's the deal with the Sunday here?
Remembrance Sunday is for the 11th for the Second World War, Battle of the Somme, and poppies being red is sort of like a representation of the field being soaked in blood. So
okay.
You wear your poppy as a remembrance for the men who died at the Battle of the Somme. And 1944 to 2019, that's 75 years. So yeah, just shout out for all the people who put their time and effort into the military. And I don't know, it's a controversial subject. Some people don't like it. I fucking hated it when I was growing up. My dad was in the TA, but as you grow up, you gain a wee bit of respect and everything changes and stuff like that, you know. But definitely should be remembered. I don't know why it's not a worldwide thing, because it was the World War. It wasn't just the UK war.
Yeah.
Serious. We might as well talk about Brexit now and really fucking kill the crack.
What did he say?
I says we might as well talk about Brexit now and really kill all the crack. So you've got puppies on screen, man. We can hear them barking in the background. Do you have many dogs? Do you just have the one, or did you keep all the puppies? Could you not let go of them?
Yeah, I just had a litter of puppies about a year ago, and the father died, so I ended up keeping one of the male puppies and got rid of all the rest because that's way too much scat to pick up.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a dog that was sick for over a year, man, with problems with his bum. I know exactly about that. That's not a fun thing, but they look like lovely little puppies. He was going to come on with a moniker of the mother giving birth, and I made him change the picture. As lovely and as wonderful as giving birth is, I didn't really want a dog giving birth on screen.
It's your channel, dude. No, no, I understand. I kept it because that's the actual dog that I kept, that picture.
Oh, yeah. I just have the one. He's lying curled up on the sofa behind me. He has had a big dinner left over from all the shite that we were eating with everybody up today, so he's stuffed. He's just sleeping it off. So One Way, we've got to know each other a wee while. We've been talking now for half an hour, right? And as you said at the start, the biblical stuff does be important to you, and that does be sort of the things that we would chat about, fall out over sometimes, and chat about some more. So if you've any questions, or don't get too fucking snottery, but if you anything you want to ask me or something, this is like, it'll be entertaining for the crowd, maybe not, but
Yeah, I mean, I would have a question about your. I think your view is agnostic, right?
yeah.
Like, are you like do you fall into the like the Huxleyan agnostic, or the difference? I guess there's two agnostic positions. One is we can't know if there's a God or not, and then the other one's just I'm not convinced, or I'm not you know
Yeah, but sort of,
I
if
don't
you would
know.
use the word evidentialist, would I be right? Because you would be now. I will always tip my hat to someone who's better educated than me in certain things, and I'll give you this: I might get the words wrong. I always find it's better to explain someone's point rather than use a word, because a word pigeonholes someone, and
Right.
you may be 99.9% agreement with that one word. Excuse me a wee second. I just shouted at the dog here. Get up on the sofa. Come on, go and lay down. Eventualist, yes, I wouldn't be convinced of it. I have seen things that have definitely said to me that I wouldn't be a definite atheist, which is why I would be agnostic. But there is definitely things that make me think. But when it comes down to it, if I wanted to convince someone else of something, I would need to have what I would consider evidence. And even though I've been through things that leave me agnostic, my personal experience isn't necessarily convincing for someone else, because that's exactly what it is a personal experience.
Yeah, I get you. That makes sense. I mean, I don't know. So my position is sort of similar, except it's like the reverse. Like, I was raised a Christian, and I didn't really think about it very much, until I think around the age 23 or so. Then I started, is this stuff even true? Like how do I even make sense out of this? So I wasn't like agnostic. I just became more, I don't know, I guess more aware of, thinking about it more. Um, but my position is sort of similar. I would hold to a view that I would call skeptical, not skeptical theism, negative theism, which is sort of the same line of reasoning, right?
Yeah,
That
something
I just
similar. I haven't been persuaded to say that there is one,
right,
and you haven't been persuaded to say that there's not one.
exactly, yeah, and that can actually serve as justification for an argument. So, like, I could see an agnostic reasoning that way, right? I just every single piece of evidence I've been presented with, um, just doesn't seem persuasive. So then you could be open to new evidence and what have you. And I'm sort of the same way, but with atheism, right? Like, I haven't seen um, anything that would make me persuaded to be an atheist. So yeah, it's sort of coming at it from the other way, though. It's sort of the same thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You could go into the whole, what is it, the Steve McRae discussion and all that fucking bollocks, which is why I prefer, as I say, just to discuss it. But I can definitely see where you're coming from. And as I say, there's an awful lot of backing behind it. And to be honest, though, uh, you say you're very similar to me, and I would agree with you in that, on paper, we would be very similar. But to justify my agnosticism and saying that I haven't been convinced of it, I don't have to do very much. And I am happy to
Right.
have just the conversation and to put my point through, put my point across. And as you say, you can understand that. But then when you go to the other side, from your point of view, how do I say this without being a fucking asshole? Do you feel the need that you have to justify it? Is that why you go and do all these readings and do all this and are as well educated in the topic as you are? Is that a need to justify it though?
Hmm. Yeah, I think we should have justifications or reasons for things that we believe are true,
Yes, but
but
without,
the approach is different than a lot of people would
yeah, but what
like
I'm
when you go for it. Or
I'm really trying not to use the word presuppositionist, but that's,
Hmm.
because I find that that word itself comes with usually a derogatory connotation to it. It's usually when I call you a presuppositionist or someone says that, it's like calling you an
Hmm.
asshole. But it's maybe because most people know of Darth Dawkins, and if you don't look him up. Just don't. All right, your brain
Yeah,
can't handle it.
I don't get along with Darth Dawkins. I don't know why. I think he's just an asshole,
Yeah, he's
in my
just an
opinion.
asshole. Yeah, there's assholes in every community, regardless. You could be a fucking purple. I guarantee you get down to the river and find a group of frogs. There's one frog that's an asshole to the rest
Right.
of the other frogs. It doesn't matter where you look. But the point I'm trying to say
Yeah,
is,
I don't take it offensive though. I would be considered a Van Tillian presuppositionalist. So yeah.
and can you do a quick summary of what a Van Tillian would be rather than, because presuppositionist to me is, as I say, you're going and trying to find the justification because you already presuppose that he does exist. And I have, not to be stuck up my own ass, but when I'm having a conversation with someone in there, I would use the word agnostic. Somebody along the same lines as Darth Dawkins would be, oh, and go off on a rant and all this shit. I would say that I'm a
Right.
true agnostic because
Did
I
he give
am.
you the incoherence of agnosticism argument? Is that what he did?
Oh God, no, I didn't talk to him, man. Although I did learn his script off, I thought he was going to be my, I was going to go at him. I was all prepared and listened to an awful lot of him, and all I ended up doing was wanting to kill myself. It wasn't worth your time.
Yeah.
But
I
the
think
point I'm trying to
he banned
make is,
just for exegeting Genesis 1 for some reason. I don't know what it was.
I could say that I would be inside speech commas true agnostic because I am genuinely open to it. That's the main reason why I don't take the atheist stance, is because I am genuinely open to it because I've had personal experience, which a lot of people do, and some people have personal experience and go the whole hog, and
So I don't want to ask you about the experiences so much, but like what they were and what have you. But would you just say that it doesn't seem like those experiences don't seem like they would fit with atheism? Is that what you're saying? Like they don't seem to fit with that idea?
well, I would say that the experiences, as most people have heard, I'm not going to go through them again. There's fucking 2 or 3 videos mentioning them, but they would be more of a touch of the woo and the supernatural. And from the cultural background that I've had and grown up in that, a few of them do have attachments to the Christian church and stuff from my mum's side of the family and stories that I've been told that they've experienced things, and then I've experienced similar things that would be, it sort of lines up, and it's all, as I say, from the background of me growing up in that. If I had grown up in fucking Mormonism, I still would have had the woo, the supernatural experience, but I would interpret it in a different way.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yes,
yeah.
that makes sense. The that yeah, maybe so that could be a good starting point to explain a Van Tillian presuppositionalist. And it's that people generally at their how do I don't want to use any jargon, you know.
I don't know, man. Look, if you
uh,
use a big word, all right, we'll just all we'll all pretend that we're kids here, okay? We've all read Philosophy
try to
101.
we try to cut it real down real easy though, but it's basically saying that everybody has the right to start with whatever premise you if you will. Like everybody has the epistemological right, that's what I call it, to start wherever they wish.
Oh yeah, exactly.
But
Of
but
course,
then
everybody has a grounding foundation of where
right.
everything comes from.
Right. So like for some people it could be atheism even. You could presuppose atheism or whatever. Um and then the transcendental argument is where the actual reasoning is for a presuppositionalist. It's basically saying, does that presupposition where you started from, does that worldview, can it be grounded? Can it map to reality? And does it make sense of reality? You know, that sort of a thing. So they're what philosophers have called, I guess, in the Kantian school, Immanuel Kant, necessary preconditions of intelligibility. So that's what
You just
basically
lost
the
everybody in the crowd. No, you went too far, man. You were all right with epistemology and you're okay with a wee bit of ontology and all the rest of it, and then that phrase
so
just, the whole crowd just left. numbers went down. All right.
But that's the best way I could explain it real quick. Like,
Yeah, no.
right? Like, which worldview can make sense of whatever experience you're talking about? Wherever you start from, can that make sense out of
Yes,
reality?
yes.
Sort of
But that's sort of the point I'm trying to make. Where, for you presuppose God, so you have to do all this justification to try and prove to everybody that God exists. Where
right.
I would, it's not. I presuppose that everything around me is happening, and I presuppose that we're all part of the same world. We're not fucking brains in a jar. But I justify myself from bouncing off other people, the same as what science would do. The same as I do an experiment that's real. I'm looking at this TV, and you're obviously talking back to me, and we have people in the crowd, so I can say I know that this is happening by verification of other people.
Right.
Where with
Sure.
the presuppose of God, it's, without being rude again, it's I don't know, so God did it, and then I have to sound really smart to avoid that sounding really. You get what I'm saying without being an asshole, yeah?
No, I understand what you're saying, because that is the way it comes across usually.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just listen to a Cy Ten Brugencator or whatever
I
for an
know, I
hour.
said the brain on the jar thing. Fuck's sake. Right, go on with the side. Go on with the side.
Mm-hmm.
No, tell
I
people who
think
don't know. Yeah, go on with the brain in the
we,
jar side 10 Bernie Gate thing if people don't know.
we might be in Geo. What's his name? Geo. We might be in his jar though. I think we concluded that the other night.
Yes, that we're all brains in Geo Sam's jar. Or no, that we're all existence and yeah.
Right.
I get what you're saying, yeah. Oh.
So I think the way, like, I do think you can justify things, but I go about it differently. Without using all the fancy jargon again, there's a couple of ways you can provide justification or prove something. You could do it directly or indirectly, right? You could say,
Yeah.
here's my syllogism, lay it down, provide positive evidence for those syllogisms or those
Oh,
premises.
syllogisms.
Yeah,
Explain to what
I like to
people,
call
right?
it
Some people don't know what a
syllogism.
syllogism is. It's basically wording something in an argument that can be,
Right.
yeah.
It's just like a premise or two with leading to a conclusion, basically.
Yeah, I
But the
just a bit, everybody in the live chat has a fair idea what we're talking about, but it's just for anyone who's watching back that isn't in the live
right.
chat. 90% of the people in the live chat know what's going on. Like fucking Geo and you could have a great chat about the euphoria dilemma or euphoric. What is it? The fucking
I've never even heard of that. Euphoria dilemma?
No, I'm
What?
saying it wrong. I'm totally saying it wrong. It's a famous one that you definitely know about, but I've heard it said that many times. It's like when you say fork over and over and over again, it loses all
Yeah.
meaning. Gio will post,
Okay.
he'll put it in the chat. He knows what it is off by heart. Hi, Maya, doorknob head. Thanks for turning up. But yeah, everybody in the chat has a basic 101, so you don't need to think that we're 4-year-olds. But it's for anyone watching back. And yeah, to be honest, I find that when you get into the deep philosophy and you start using big words and stuff like that, if you can't explain it to the people who you're talking to and they need to go and read a book, then you don't fucking know it well enough.
Right. Yeah.
So that's what I'm aiming
Pretty
for.
much.
So
The I would just say that with the two different kinds of proving things, the way you can do it is indirect or direct. And mine is the indirect method, which is almost identical to the agnostic view, right?
yes.
Where it's you instead of doing it positively, you can do it what's called contrapositively. You just switch whatever the conclusion is. So you could switch it into the negative. So I could say,
Yeah.
well, let's start with without God's existence and see, where this goes. So it's like similar to the brain in the jar thing or solipsistic, universes. I would say I don't have any good reason to be a solipsist.
No.
It's not that I, try to disprove solipsism directly. I do it indirectly. I say, what's the reason? How, what's the evidence that I'm in this matrix or whatever,
It would be cool to be in the Matrix, but and you talk to some people sometimes, and then you say holographic universe and things like that, and they get confused in that. Whenever you're talking about a holographic universe, it's a 2-dimensional something representing. Sorry, it's a 3-dimensional thing being represented on a 2-dimensional form. It's nothing to do with you look out the window and there's a a hologram happening. It's similar,
It's
but
always depicted that way, but yeah, you're right. It's just a mathematical. It's a way of describing a mathematical
yeah,
function.
like
If you,
there's certain equations that there's a lot of I'm pretty much sure I could make this statement and be correct. Now it is I have the moniker of MathPig and I do love my math. It's more of a representation of science and eventualism, and instead of I sit down and do long equations every night. But you can take time out of equations and it doesn't matter whether time moves forward or time moves backwards. You still, the maths makes sense. You know, maths, if you're doing the equations and you make time go backwards, the maths still makes sense.
mm-hmm.
You know, it's one of them sort of situations. I have described that really wrong, but yeah, it's what we do here. Tangents. Have you ever watched our Richard series? It's going to go, we're 4 episodes in and we're just about to hit
I
episode
watched
2.
the first one. Richard, you're talking about Richard Madsen?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I watched the first one.
Watch the third one. The third one, we get really into gravity and we start talking about that. And he's now started to go and have a wee look about the gravity of it, because for Mercury to get from where it is to Jupiter, it's going to have to, you know, if you hit it hard enough to knock it off its axis and out of its orbit, it's going to go up at, being best case scenario, a 45-degree angle to minimize the amount of impact that you need, because you need a fuckload of impact to knock this thing out of its orbit. It's going to go up at a 45-degree angle. When you throw things on Earth at a 45-degree angle, you get a parabolic rate. That's due to gravity. And that's because it's consistent the whole way across. If you hit something in space hard enough at that angle, it's just going to keep going. So it's going to need something to bring it back down again. And I was trying to put that across to him. I was like, you're going to have pretty much a planetary alignment in the solar system to have enough gravity to pull everything back down again. So, you know, episode 3 was quite good. Episode 3, as in the third episode, they're named, I think, 0, 1, 1.35 and 1.95, because we tangent that much.
Was it interstellar bodies or something like?
Yeah. The history in speech commas of the interstellar bodies or interstellar objects. But yeah, like, it's fun. It's just good to chat to Richard. I enjoy chatting to him, same as I would enjoy chatting to yourself. Like, you know, different points of view and.
Absolutely. So that might be 2 other things we might differ on, because I would be considered a scientific anti-realist or instrumentalist, which is just basically I don't think these entities like electrons and whatnot actually exist. I guess you could say in a I don't know what to say.
I'll send you the link for a chat
Yeah.
in one of the, what do you call that big English place? The Royal Institute of Science, man.
Mm-hmm.
On wave theory. It's an hour long lecture, and then there is, I think, 45 minutes of questions and answers afterwards. And the guy pretty much puts that forward. He's like, nothing actually exists until you sort of, you know, you look at it. Everything's a wave function. It all breaks
Yeah.
down, and when it all breaks down, that's when you get your particle. But there's waves, everything. There is no technical electron. I would agree with you on that. I don't think that there is a little physical thing, but that's only when we look at it.
I think they're referred to as like useful fictions or whatever, right? Like mathematical fictions.
Yeah, you know, it's easy to make it, and it's maths and physics works real well when you generalize everything. You know, when you actually look at things in the real life, and again, I'm going to butcher this, but this is the pigsty science that you get here. But yeah, everything works better when you generalize it, and you can make everything. Like, you're growing up in high school, you look, it's a circle. That's your nucleus of the atom, and with your protons and your electrons are spinning around it, and they're little things. And then you get further up in high school and you realize that there's different levels that they can go through. And then you realize when you go to university that there ain't no fucking electrons at all. It's just a big fuzzy sort of field. You know, it all, like, people in the chat and general in the world don't realize it's just a lot more complicated than you think.
Yeah.
But I would agree with you on the fact that I could say that it could be argued that an electron doesn't exist until you actually look at it.
Right. So like my view is pretty similar to Christian idealism, if you will, which is like everything that exists is fundamentally mind, I guess you would say, or spirit rather than material.
Yeah, I could see that, man.
view.
Just as I say, with the fact that I say I'm agnostic, I've had the whole supernatural, so I would be open to that. So don't think that I'm going to jump on you or anything for it. Yeah, I'm not going to go down the spiritual route where everything is energy. I had that conversation with a van driver the other day at work, but he left the church. He had I think it was his son or his daughter, but he had a child pass away, and he didn't get really the help that he needed from the church. He got it from the community, but he still liked where it was, and not being nasty, but now he's cherry picked and he's a spiritual man and everything's energy and we're all going to go back to energy. You know, that general wave that's going through everybody now.
Yeah.
The nuns, you know, as
The
it generally been known as. But
Yeah, so those would be some differences too. I guess we would have, which is interesting. We could talk about it some other time. But that's one of the reasons, because I'm a scientific anti-realist. I don't like. I can listen to like creation evolution debates, but they're just uninteresting to me. Like because I constantly hear these phrases like "science proves da 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 da," and you go, wait a minute, no, that's not exactly accurate. But both sides seem to both sides seem to just assume scientific realism when they argue with each other, which is, I don't know. I just find it uninteresting listening to those kind of debates. They're more entertainment than anything.
oh yeah, definitely. You know, it used to be whenever the non sequitur did that Saturday night fight night with the flat earthers and the come on, it was a bit of crack, but it got dead very quick. You know, there's only so many times you can flog a dead horse, and
Right.
they're fun and they're interesting and stuff like that. Probably everybody in the chat has done the rounds with Red's Rhetoric and fucking Bo and all that there. And you know, we've all watched the flat earth debates. We've all had our laughs and thrown our digs in. But everybody that has a fucking bit of intelligence and doesn't have anything in the game leaves, because fuck me, it's boring after a while. It's the same shit. You know, you watch 10 episodes, you learn the arguments, and then it's basically back to episode 1 again.
Right, and then most of them just get repeated over and over.
And refuse to learn. Like,
Right.
I've watched 3 Kenthoven debates. That's it. I've learnt it all. They've been the same since fucking 1986. So,
Yeah, I think I watched all of his seminars or whatever, and nothing has changed. He's saying the same stuff.
he still uses the same slides. And I don't know if you've ever watched Viced Rhino is quite good. He, I think 2 weeks ago, did one where he was showing Kenthoven from the 80s, and then he was showing the Sun from like a month ago, and the Sun was just repeating and showing the same sort of slides, and oh, they just don't learn. You know, that's the thing, man. And the people who believe this, how do they not see that it's the same shit? It's just reinforcing their confirmation bias every single fucking day of the week. You know, like when they tell you if you want to be confident, when you get up in the morning, you go into the mirror and you're brushing your teeth, you tell yourself you're beautiful. Sassy, are you away? Talk to you later. She's not well. Hope you feel better, Miss Sassy. Happy birthday. It's her birthday on Tuesday. So happy birthday, Miss Sassy. Anyway.
Yeah, happy birthday.
You go to the mirror in the morning, you tell yourself you're beautiful. You know, you're just reinforcing that over and over again. And it's the same thing. But you realize that's what it is to the point where you don't need it anymore. So, do these people who are watching and have watched Kenthoven and his ilk since the 80s, I don't want to be rude, but are they fucking stupid that they just sit there and listen to the same shit over and over and over and over and don't realize? Like, if anybody was saying on any topic the same things to you for 20 fucking years on repeat, that would make anybody go and question it. In my opinion, if you have any sort of intelligence.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain because I used to be in that mindset, you know. For me, it was when I ran into Michael Heiser and started studying like the actual background to scripture. It didn't seem to bother me anymore. Right?
Yeah.
It's like you could argue with a young Earth. If you listen to a young Earth creationist and you listen to a flat earther, they pretty much use the same reasoning.
And they both have lots of tabs open.
Right.
Now, I follow for the crack Zohar Stargate communities or something on fucking YouTube, right? It was suggested to me because of I would watch Ancient Aliens and that sort of stuff for entertainment, you know, and I do like ancient civilizations, you know, it's entertainment for me. Obviously, I don't believe in that. I don't agree with that sort of thing. I could maybe be pushed towards an ancient civilization or older human race than what we think we are. I could maybe lean that way, but you'd need to show me more evidence than what's on the History Channel.
Yeah.
Fucking not
Yeah,
named
right.
correctly at all. But this show has now teamed up with Gaia. Do you know what Gaia is? The Gaia Network?
No, no, I don't.
Gaia Network? Gaia Network. Gaia. And it's the Netflix for spiritual people and fucking weirdos. And they do wee snippets of shows that are an hour long, right? And one was called today, I can't remember the fucking name of it, but he was talking about the Nisha, and there's some ancient fucking people that have been going on for ages and they've been around, and it's, you know, something like the Anunnaki. You've heard of Michael Tellinger. They've give him his own fucking show. All right?
Wow.
Yeah, you know who I'm talking about. Do you know he's now
I think
using that money to start up, and he's found Enki's house, the Anunnaki god's house, down in South Africa, and all these fucking planetary round circles of rocks that were back in the day used as power stations, and he's charging people now and making money off it.
that's crazy.
Yeah, and they do snippets. I don't want to be a channel that does reaction videos, but I've had to watch some of these 15-minute videos twice just to listen to. Did he just say that? And I'm pausing it in real life, going, "What the fuck?" Like they're mad. I'll send you a link, man. But yeah, the Gaia Network. Look it up. They charge you and all for it. I don't know if I ever get 1,000 subscribers and people want a fucking Patreon to me. That's the first thing I'm doing with Patreon is getting that and just laughing our fucking tits off at least once a week. Picking a show to make fun of and just laughing at it because, oh, it's fucking hilarious. But
Yeah, I'm not much of a television watcher, but I don't know why I tend to stay away from those sorts of. I mean, the ancient aliens thing is just bizarre. I can't even like process. Like the best thing I can think of is like the ending of X-Files. You know, I don't know if you've seen the ending
I know
where they
X-Files.
find out that God is like the aliens.
I know, I don't know. It's sort of the ancient alien thing. Sort of reminds me of the end of Battlestar Galactica, the new series. If you've seen that,
No, I haven't.
well, you need to watch that, man. There's a whole god debate the entire way through it. I don't understand why people in the sci-fi in this community in this fucking debates have not watched the entire fucking series of the new Battlestar Galactica. There's a whole multiple gods against the one god, and you know the way the Cylons are the bad people. The Cylons would believe in what could be looked upon as the Christian God. You know, so the bad guys are actually working for the good side. It's really good, and there's flipping and flopping between sides, and it's really good. It's just really good. Definitely something to watch. But the end of that is something similar to the Ancient Aliens as well. But I could watch Ancient Aliens over and over and over. This is the point. I could watch it over and over and over again because it's entertainment. The flat Earth thing is just repeating.
Yeah.
At least Ancient Aliens add different things to it and find out new information. And with the exception of Dlabaki Tepe and a few other things, they don't generally repeat themselves. You know, every series is. But then you don't need to because it's fucking Ancient Aliens. You just find an old city and stick some aliens there and you're landed. But it's always
Right.
different. You know, always different arguments and things like that. And yeah. It just must be that people who watch that over and over again are fucking brain dead. I'm sorry, people. I'm sorry. But you're fucking
Or-
brain dead.
Or they find it entertaining somehow. I don't know.
But that's what I'm saying. It's the same. How could one find that fucking entertaining? I don't know. We're just whinging about that sort of shit. But then at the end of the day, man, anybody from the outside that watches this, my woman says we're fucking weirdos. Same shit over and over again. She's like, what do you talk about? And it's hard to put into something to explain to somebody. Like if my woman said, what do you talk about? She wants a topic. you know, like what did you talk about last night? And if I said fucking solipsism and the problem of evil, she'd just look at me and go, what? You fucking weirdo. And then we would discuss these same topics. And 6 months down the line, I could have you back on again. And we could maybe touch on the same topics. In general, we would talk about it in a different way, approach it from a different point of view. You'd have a different book. I'd have smoked more. Different things altogether. And it's the same fucking topic.
Yeah, I think the same points come up a lot too, though. So, but it depends on the person, you know. Some people like Darth Dawkins, you just want to like pull your hair out.
Sky out.
It's just so repetitive.
Oh, poor Sky out as well. He's a fucking disaster. I think he wants to be Darth Dawkins, but is just too stupid to be Darth Dawkins. Do you hang out with Sky out? You know of Sky out, yes?
I'm in his Discord server, but he's like never in there. I think I've talked to him a few times, but I don't know. To me, he just seems like somebody who I don't know. Like it, as a presuppositionalist, I hate seeing that sort of material being produced by people calling themselves that.
I know. He just says same as yours.
You can't just you can't regurgitate the stuff without being able to explain it, you know, and actually demonstrate it.
That's exactly what we said earlier, man. If you don't understand it, you know, you may be able to supply a book. He couldn't even fucking supply a book. Yeah.
Right. So, like, for example, right? Let's just use like an example that might be used on me. If somebody said to me, you know, Russ, that's my name, by the way.
I'm Robbie.
Somebody could just, you know, presuppose another God and do the same stuff with what you're doing. And I would go, okay, what's the problem? You know what I mean? On my worldview, there are many gods. That's what the Bible says, you know? So, but you wouldn't get that sort of a response from him. I think he would just like regurgitate something like there's only one God and then just quote a Bible verse.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And when they ask him more something fancy and they use a word, I think actually, I can't remember, I think he was in a Raging Atheists chat and it may have been Drag. I think it was Drag. And Sky Out had just done a video like the day before or something where he'd used this word for the first time because he'd read it. And he must have used it like 6 times in that chat with Drag. And Drag was like, see how he's just learned this new big word? Isn't this great? He told everybody that he just learned. That? You know, as you say.
He does that a lot in his Discord server. Like he was pasting all these philosophical problems that I know of, right? And I'm like, what are you doing? And he's just like memorizing these terms is pretty much.
Yeah, that's it. There's no point.
Somebody who just like.
There's Discord servers out there that have dedicated areas for learning and things like that, you know, and philosophy and all that there. And as I say, we all have done the philosophy 101, and if you haven't, you have. Right. You've been in the community long enough that you've picked it up. You know the general ideas, you know what epistemology is, right. You know what these things mean. Obviously, when you have a conversation like Oneway, you know, I don't give a fuck. I'm an open book. I was nervous about coming on here tonight because the man in this field is better educated than myself, and I don't like stepping outside my field. You know, unless I'm in text form and I'm picking on someone and being in troll mode, I don't like stepping outside my field. But I don't want anyone who watches this to just be bored. Like,
right? Yeah, I don't know.
And sometimes it can be boring. It can be. When it gets to the point with the philosophy and things like that, it gets fucking boring.
Definitely. I guess the thing that I would say though is just you got to know different models, and you got to be willing to engage with those, you know, those models that are in the philosophical literature.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't do that. They just spout off something.
I'm still waiting for Geo to post the fucking
time trying to learn all those models and trying to defend them all.
Yeah, well, that's
you know what I mean?
Yeah. You're going the fucking full hog, so you can be backed up regardless of what says. You know, something similar again with Richard. I mentioned him because we sort of do co-host, and most people come to see him, and more so than me, I bet. But he has a 59,000 word paper to back up everything he has that he felt the need to write because people asked him to prove his point, and they were like, "If you've got this, write a paper, put it out for peer review." So he wrote a paper and he sent it to Josh. It's out there for everybody if anyone wants it. You know, he did that. That's the point I'm making. Like yourself, if someone pushes you in something, you get your Google Drive out.
Right. It's good to have all that stuff in front of you, though. I would just honestly spend more time reading people. I mean, this is what I do. I tend to spend more time learning and reading from people I disagree with than the ones I agree with. And then on top of that, I don't really engage in a lot of debate, you know?
Yeah, I wouldn't consider anything I do in this channel debate. I try not to have the debate at all. I eh, I would have the people on the Tuesday. They introduce themselves. They get an hour with me, push me. I push them back. Well, not push, but question each other. You get a general census for who it is, and then the after party comes on. I go on to the wine and just take a back seat. Generally, by the end of the first show, there's enough people in the chat that want to fucking go at the person or go for their throat or question them and push them or even just be nice and ask them questions. But this is just a platform. This is all this is a platform for other people. At the end of the day, just feel like a host. I've said it before, and I've credited you as well, man. It was the idea of a little Irish pub with a pool room down the back that everyone can come and have a drink, have a smoke, and talk shite with. Friends.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, me and you have had our fallouts, and anybody that knows me in one way from my server or back in Skylar's server and all, oh man, that day that you fell out with me and I fell out with you. Well, I fell out with you first because you were an asshole, but I was for fucking banning you. I had to go and rant to Sal. I was in the fucking DMs to Sal going, just talk to me, because if I get back into that server, I'm going to abuse my power and I'm going to ban that cunt. Just talk to me for a minute. I'll be grand. It's not good to get wound up, but, you know.
There's too much of that in our communities, you know.
That's the thing, though. Me and you had that, and I was fucking livid. And I can sit here and say that you're an asshole. You'll probably never admit it, but we've got past that now, and we can have the conversation, because probably there was a wee bit of background to it, and there was the death metal, and there was the sci-fi, and the just general VC. When Skylar started, it was always you on it and always me on it. We were probably the two most popular. Well, not popular, but
probably.
Well, you know, popular means that people wanted to listen to us. We just wanted to listen to each other. But you get what I'm saying. We had a bit of background, and because of that, we can fuck each other off and be a little bit rude, and you know,
yeah, it's just prodding. You know, I mean, I don't know. Skylar's somebody I thought like I might actually like blow up on or something, but he's actually a really nice guy. So is Dr. Josh.
Oh yeah, I'm standing on the shoulders of those who came before me, man. You know.
Yeah, I enjoy those guys. They got stuff going good over there.
Yeah, definitely. Can't get enough love for Skylar and enough love for Digital Hammurabi, and I wouldn't be here and probably known in the community if it hadn't have been for them. Digital Hammurabi, I think I was like their fifth Patreon or something. You know, I really enjoyed their content right from the get go, and only for knowing them and then being known from them, and then Skylar, obviously helping out Josh. I jumped across and was helping Skylar as well, or doing my wee thing in the Discord as I do. And no, big shout out for them. I wouldn't be who I am if it wasn't for them. Like, definitely a lot of respect for them.
Absolutely, they got good stuff going on.
They do.
And since we're talking about ancient astronauts, I think in Digital Hammurabi they deal with that topic.
Oh yeah, the very first one back in the day was for their 1,000 subscribers, if I'm getting this correct. And there was glasses of wine drank. They ended up going to the cupboard and breaking out all the hats. Do you remember that stream?
Yeah, but they finagled Megan or whatever before, like they wouldn't let her. Like I guess she uploaded it, and then somebody tried to like strike it or something.
Yes, no, she did a thing against Ancient Aliens. The one I'm talking about was for their 1,000 subscribers party, and it was bitching about stitching, and they were picking on your guy stitching about the.
I remember that.
Yeah, the Anunnaki, and then as I say, there was a few drinks drank, and then the hats come out, and they had a hat party. There was multiple hats worn during the stream. I was nearly falling over on the floor laughing, man. And Megan said penis about 50 times. It was fucking hilarious. You can't get away with that shit no more. Because they're famous. They're YouTube famous now. But, yeah, no, I loved their content from the start. And as I say, if it hadn't have been from being around with them, and, yeah, I owe a lot of what I am on the internet to, as I say, standing on the shoulders of those who came before me.
Yeah.
But this is what we're aiming for here on MathPig. We're a community. It's a hub, a place that people can come and just give shite, talk shite, have the crack, get to know people, and then when you get to know them, you can push them a wee bit harder and hopefully not fall out with them.
Right. Yeah. We need to get along. That's for sure. We're all in this thing together called reality, or if there is, or we might be in Geo's jar together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we could all
Might
be
as well
in.
get along there,
But
right?
we're gonna have to. But there was a movie. Was it not? Was it John Cusack that did a movie where there was a guy that had a mental disorder and he'd 14 personalities in his head, and they all ended up in the same motel. At the start of the movie, they're
Yeah.
all. Yeah,
That was a good movie.
yeah, that was a good movie. Penis O'Toole, top of the morning. How's yourself and your potatoes? Just sorry, no penis. Do you know Penis O'Toole? I'm sure you've seen him about too.
No, let me see. I have to go to. For
Oh,
some
that's
reason,
right. Yeah,
am I
I
supposed to
forget.
see the live chat in SteamYard?
No, because as I'm screen grabbing StreamYards,
Oh,
it doesn't have any
yeah.
chat at all.
I
OBS,
forgot you're using OBS too. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. Okay.
OBS is on the second screen, so I've got the chat running up the side. Plus, I put the chat on the screen as well. I need to figure out in the settings where it is to make the live chat go away. I don't want the live chat there after we upload. Because, well, I do watch the live. If the show was produced live, I will watch the live chat as it's, going on. Premieres or anything like that, I wouldn't give a shit about. But if it was.
I don't know. You do that. I couldn't do that. Like some of the videos I make, I try to listen to them, and I'm like, I can't listen to myself for some reason.
No, I don't watch. I would do after this goes down. I'll go through it and maybe watch probably 15 minutes in total, finding out little points that we mentioned in it to stick in the description, change the thumbnail, do a wee thing and tidy it up, and then move on and probably not go back again. I don't like
So
listening to myself. And
let's see if I can give a summary. So far we talked about a little bit about scientific views, some sci-fi, uh, different different views of agnosticism, along with the way I go about that, which is similar reasoning to an agnostic, but as a theist. And then let's see what else. What else did we talk about?
your dogs.
Yeah, our
We had,
dog, my
we had
dogs, the
the
nasty
doggies.
dog picture.
Doorknob Head would have had a field day with that. If there was an actual picture of a dog giving birth on my screen, Doorknob Head just would have he'd have had a field day with that.
Be some video. Look at this one way, this crazy guy.
Look, at the end of the day, we're all fucking crazy. Everybody's different. And that if I just hung around with fucking atheists and agnostics, that's just an echo chamber. If you did the same, it's an echo chamber. If I have a view and I have a point, or if I have something that I have an idea on it, the only way to check if it's right is to go and find out someone who either knows exactly. Like if I wanted to learn electricians and I had an idea, I'd go bounce something off an electrician. You get what I'm saying? Right. There's no point in surrounding myself with people who agree with me, who have down the exact same line, because as I could say about religion, as if you follow that same path that everybody that was there and everybody that tells you to follow and they're all wrong, you're fucking wrong too. Go out of your comfort zone.
Saying it more isn't going to help.
Pardon?
You got to deal with it. I said then saying it over and over again isn't going to help.
No. You just need to go and find people, because I hate repeating myself. I don't even like repeating myself with my mum, and she's getting to, not that she's old or anything, but sometimes I have to repeat myself, tell her in the same conversation. I'm like, I just told you this 5 minutes ago. And she's like, calm down. I'm like, you raised me and you told me that you would give me, she would teach you something, and then she wouldn't repeat herself. But if you didn't understand, there's no problem in asking questions. She would show you something, like using the dishwasher for the first time as a kid or something like that, and she would show you it once, and if you didn't get it, you could ask questions. But if you were just being an asshole and she had to repeat herself, wasn't happening. And now I've got that drilled into me, and I'm having to repeat, and she's like, calm down. And it's like, no, I just don't like repeating myself. I don't. And surround yourself with people who agree with you. You're just fucking repeating yourself.
Right. I find myself in those situations all the time because like a lot of the contacts that I have are like apologists,
Yeah.
Um, and it's kind of difficult for me to like, because I have to, I don't know how to explain that, but you almost, you almost don't want to tell them that they're wrong, right? Because you're going to get blowback and then you're going to start arguing with people in the room because they all think alike, if you're trying to correct them on something, or just putting information out there that goes against their view. Um, there's a lot of blowback in those sorts of circles. Like you almost feel like you're not welcome to express something that might challenge them.
Yeah, if you push something and it disagrees with them, you're a bad guy.
Right.
I don't like that idea. I like to be pushed. I like to, no, definitely do. Right, what I'm going to do, man, is I'm going to throw it out for a couple of minutes of any questions from the chat. Give it 10-15 minutes. We'll see if you've got anything you want to push me on, anything you want to push One Way on, question us on, anything like that.
Okay.
Yeah, you'd be happy enough, man. Do 5-10 minutes of that and then round it up.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm gonna be able to show up at the after party though.
Oh no, there's no after party tonight. There's no nothing tonight.
Okay.
No,
That's
no,
good.
no.
Well, yeah. Thanks. I do want to say thanks for having me. You're a pretty cool dude to chat with.
Well, you've been nagging me since the channel was going. When am I getting my interview? When am I getting my interview?
Yep.
When can I get on? You fucking had Jill on. Why can't I? Why can't I? Come on. Oh.
Did you assume it was so I could come on here and argue with you constantly?
Not that I would. No, I think you're saving that for when I go to your channel.
Maybe.
Oh no, man. In all honesty, we have had our falling outs and stuff, and I've said it once, I'll say it again. I bow to your brain when it comes to this topic, and I know that sometimes it's, yeah. I'll not even say it on live. I'll not be that cruel. Right, any chats from the fucking questions? Any questions from the fucking chat? Well, Be Mindful thinks you're a one guy, man. A nice guy. You see, I'm getting confused and nervous now. Right. Calm
Well,
down.
thank you.
No, I appreciate you coming on, man. And at the end of the day, if I could say that I talked to... Yeah, I probably could. I probably talked to you about all this existential crisis shit more than any other Christian in the community. So I appreciate that. Appreciate you always being... having the time for me.
Yeah, no problem, man. I almost didn't wake up though. I was like, my wife woke me up, and she's like, "It's 2:30." She always gives me shit, right? Because I do it to her.
Yeah.
I get up and I'm like, "Oh shit," And then I look at the clock and I'm like, 1:30. Oh, she was pulling my leg.
Oh. I wanted to have a wee power nap as well before this because I wasn't sure how long it would go, because the original plan was to do a wee while here and then maybe go over to yours or back and forth or whatever, but we have the dinner in my mum's on a Sunday, so we were there, and then my woman and the daughter, they had to drive home, and my ma says to me, "You going to go on home now?" I says, "No, if you don't mind, I'm going to crawl up beside your radiator in the corner there and I'm going to go to sleep for a couple hours." She goes, "What? Why don't you just go home and do that?" And I said, "Because if I go home and fall asleep, I have a stream and I might miss the stream. If I fall asleep over in the corner here, after about 2 hours, you'll kick me and tell me to get out, and I'll definitely not miss the stream." And she gave me 2 hours and 20 minutes before she came over and kicked me and went, "You need to get up. You have to go home." I was like, "Right, going now." Right. Well, no questions from the chat then. Am I a potato or a tato? I'm a spud. We call them spuds.
Spuds.
Spuds. SPUDS. Spuds. Can I push you off a cliff while asking you, are you a Protestant or a Catholic falling off a cliff? Well, I'm a Protestant, the girlfriend's a Catholic, and the daughter's a mongrel. So if you push her off the cliff, you'll kill two birds with one stone, and then I'll shoot you. Right, well, everybody's being fucking very nice, man. Nobody's asking any hard questions. Sadie, I can't remember your profile pic because I just looked at it and then I was doing other stuff. I'm sorry, that sounds like I don't give a fuck, but you know I care. I will look and I'll tell you. Check the chat for Spud Debate. Right, thanks everybody for turning up. One Way, really appreciate you coming on, man. And yeah, we'll definitely have to do this sometime again. Maybe not a Sunday night. We'll have to get you on the Tuesday and do it right.
An informal debate, MathPig, like next time, like just sort of about the two Star Trek, because I'm still working through Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, no. We'll not have that debate until you've watched both of them. And to be honest,
Yeah.
I still haven't went back and rewatched Next Generation. After Deep Space Nine, I went on to SG1, and I'm actually finished SG1 now. I'm watching Atlantis, and probably after that, I'll do Universe, and then I might go back and watch Next Generation. But I didn't want to watch two Star Treks straight after each other.
Right, that's what I'm doing. You get burnt out quick.
Yeah, well, the difference is with the Stargate SG1, it's my childhood show, so I love it. Plus the fact that it's 3 shows, even though it's similar. And, you know I said don't watch 2 Star Treks just after each other, and then I'm watching 3 SG1s straight after each other. But SG1 is different. It's sort of episode by episode up until a certain point. Atlantis has the general storyline from the get-go, and Universe was way ahead of its time. Universe was doing... I don't know if you've ever watched SG1 Universe. It's fantastic. And the soundtrack for the first series is amazing. Absolutely. And Jesse Lee Peterson, amazing. Amazing.
I watched some Star SG, but I don't know. I guess not very much.
Well, if you know the general premise of SG1, that there's a Stargate on Earth, Stargate Atlantis is there's 9 symbols on the Stargate. When you use 7, that's a local galaxy. When you use 8, you can jump to another galaxy. They jump to the Pegasus galaxy where there is the lost city of Atlantis. Blah, 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 and it was... and then with Stargate Universe, they unlock the 9th symbol, which sends them to a spaceship that was sent out over 1 million years ago by a very ancient race that built the Stargates. And it has been going through the universe, gathering data, because before the ancients actually passed away, they found a pattern in the background CBR which indicates evidence for God. And this spaceship was sent out to travel the entire universe to pick up information from all the background radiation as and where it is to try and find evidence for God.
Interesting. So it's like sort of a twist on the cosmological argument, right?
Yes, but that's
interesting.
I did sort of push that wee bit because it's on topic, but in all honesty, that's not what really the show's about. They get to the ship and it's been going for 1 million years and it's been falling apart. So most of the time is sort of adventures to try and get water to make this happen, and then there's a story and stuff. And what actually happened is they ended it, man, I think at the end of the 2nd series. And then the guys that wrote it went off and made a graphic novel called Dark Matter. And then the Sci-Fi Channel thought that Dark Matter was fantastic, even though its first series was based on what, a lot of the stories for what would have been the 3rd series of a universe that they said no to. They then give it and let Dark Matter run for a couple of series. Now, it was a good show, but like series 2 of Stargate Universe ended with everybody being put in stasis. And Dark Matter started with everyone waking up out of stasis with no memory.
Interesting.
Yeah. It is definitely worth a watch, man.
Yeah.
The character development. Again, the character development is fantastic. They have a couple of general storylines that are expected, but then they have definitely give even just Stargate Universe on its own. It's only 2 series. You'll fly through it. But it's fucking fantastic. And we have slobbered on for an hour 10 minutes. Right. Everybody, thank you very much for coming. I'm definitely hitting the live stream. Go away now. Thanks very much, everybody. And we'll see you on Tuesday. I've got Jim from Atheist Edge, all going well, coming on Tuesday. So that should be fun. Haven't had we've been mainly Christians coming on. But according to Jill in the comment section, we haven't had any Bible believing Christians on the show yet. But okay, thanks everybody. Bye.